Newly elected One Nation Senator Malcolm Roberts says there is a lack of integrity in Parliament. Meet Malcolm Roberts, the man who scraped in to become One Nation's fourth senator with just 77 personal first preference votes. But while he may stand with One Nation, he has already made one thing clear: his priority is Queensland first, party second. Mr. Roberts, who officially received his ticket to Canberra yesterday, maintained his allegiance was to his state and said he wouldn't hesitate to vote against his party if he had to. Pauline Hanson told me and every other candidate, "If you disagree with the party, you have a responsibility to cross the floor," and that convinced me about this woman, he said. But what do we know about One Nation's newest senator and how much power will he hold? Rise of One Natio. One Nation now has 4 Senate seats across the country, 2 in Queensland, 1 in Enns and 1 in Wa. This could spell a potential headache for Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull. The coalition has 30 Senate seats, compared to Labour's 26, which means the PM will need the support of both One Nation and the 3 members of the Nick Xenophon team. Hence, to pass difficult legislation, the Courier Mail reported. And according to Mr. Roberts, the Turnbull government does not have a mandate for pushing its reforms through the upper house. The rebirth of One Nation comes despite laws which changed the way Australians vote for senators passed during a marathon sitting in March. This meant voters were allowed to allocate their own preferences above the line on the Senate ballot paper, and if they chose to vote below the line, they didn't have to number every box. What he stands for. The self-professed family man with a background in engineering and business spent the early years of his life in India, according to his One Nation profile. He graduated from the University of Queensland with an honours degree in engineering before venturing into mining. He is married to Christine and has a son, Shane. Mr. Roberts yesterday outlined some of his priorities in his new job, including family law court and tax changes. Here's what else the mining engineer has on his radar. Mr. Roberts wants to see amendments to Section C of the Racial Discrimination Act, which will allow free speech. When we have free speech curbed, we don't talk about the real issues: tax, Islam, terrorism, the economy, he said. The Queensland senator also wants an inquiry into the Bureau of Meteorology and the CSIRO, the latter of which he is accused of corrupting the science. Mr. Roberts is a staunch skeptic of the impact of man-made climate change, calling for changes to climate policy which assumes humans contribute to global warming. There is not one piece of empirical evidence anywhere showing humans cause climate change, he said. Mr. Roberts backs a plebiscite on legalizing gay marriage. Mr. Roberts remains circumspect on his support for government policies such as restoring the construction industry watchdog. While he was against union corruption, he said he will wait until seeing the Abkhi bill before finalizing his position. The Abkhi bill was the catalyst which sparked the double dissolution election. Pauline's credibility man. Mr. Roberts first shot to our attention on election night when he stood under the arm of Pauline Hanson. Pictured on national television, his conservative blue sweater contrasted with the bright orange t-shirts of his running mate and her fans. It was during that night Ms. Hanson appeared to nominate Mr. Roberts as the intellectual of One Nation when she cited his education and credentials as a mining executive. Ms. Hanson also presented him as someone who would lend credibility to her policies. This brief exposure raised the possibility the simplistic Hanson approach would this time be reinforced by solid argument and tested fact. However, the reputation of One Nation as a home for chaotic thinkers and absurd theories has been reinforced, and not just because Mr. Roberts dismisses the concept of human-induced climate change. Mr. Roberts claims climate change is being promoted by a cabal of bankers who want to profit from a scam.